Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday, the 11th of November. So, what's coming up today? I got my days mixed up yesterday. I do apologise. There was barely anything yesterday, and I was getting sort of Monday mixed up with Tuesday. So today we got the bank holiday. Although I've got it right, the equity market's still open for the US, but not the bond markets. So we'll see what happens there. Could be a quietish afternoon anyway. News hitting the system this morning, I was just reading a short while ago, was the China's is going to accelerate export approvals for most rare earth producers, but exclude companies with links to the US military. That might just spoil things a little. We'll see whether it sells it or not, or whether it's just accepted. And hey, some of these could realistically they could sell on what they buy, I suppose. There's ways around these things, isn't there? Anyway, moving on. Right, so euro dollar. We'll move on, he says. And well, yesterday, inside day on a daily basis, it really just didn't happen. It looks like there's a bit of a sort of a 4-hourly flaggy. It's not the best. It's almost a yeah. Don't really like it. A pennant rather, not a triangle. It's more almost like a pennant. I don't know. Maybe a triangle. In which case, fine. It could continue on that route to the upside, but looking a bit iffy. And you come down to the lower time frames here. This did trigger just after 8 o'clock yesterday. But I missed it, never got into it, and well, it never went there either. So even if I had got it, well, I'd have had a losing trade yesterday. That's the only thing I really was looking at that looked attractive in the morning. At the moment, though, it's looking quite ugly in terms of what we've got in this price action. As I say, it's a bit of a triangle, I guess, sitting there. We'll see what happens, but it's not looking good. Now the pound's off. I didn't read the news out. We've seen the employment news this morning, and it's grim relative to expectation there. Well, we're seeing the consequences of that for sure at the moment. You see today just really selling off. Yesterday it was a little bit more positive, but we hadn't caught the weekly pivot. We're now almost back to the weekly pivot here. Could see as these markets do change something here, but yesterday I say it's grim. It almost hit its R1, came slightly short, but what I would have been looking for either of these to do. What time was that? That was the 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Yeah, it was nearer, but no return in terms of overall price action there either. But at the moment, lower highs. It's changed the structure of the pattern here. We had the higher highs, higher lows coming through on this. I don't know why I was pointing to the higher lows, higher highs to pointing to lower lows. It's higher lows even, but we've got the higher lows and the higher highs coming through. We've then popped in this lower high, and that were two little lower highs coming through there, which is a bearish sort of signal at the moment. It may just correct in terms of an ABC and reverse. We'll see what happens. To say that weekly pivot might just provide the support. Don't like it as it sits at the moment. We could see the dollar suddenly gaining again if things kick off on this rare earth situation. Dollar yen still is just running now. This morning yesterday it just carried on its route a little bit, but it's back into these highs here. It's knocking on the door. It's whether or not it's going to push on through here at this stage. It's sort of a relative key area where it sits there, but yeah, not liking that either. There's nothing I really like, and this is going to be a very short video. Well, sometimes the ones where I can't find anything makes me look more further, but the way some of these majors are moving on a lack of movement doesn't fill me with interest at the moment. Aussie dollars, well, that's rolling yesterday. It's just so ugly at the moment. Not interested in these. The US dollar CAD. It's so important to pick the right fight, eh? And well, the CAD did break down. That had done all the movement yesterday, and then really choked up yesterday. Didn't do a lot more. Found support into its S1. Never really followed off to the S2, but it had moved so much on Friday into Monday. Slowed the situation at the moment. A break below these, the pivot and the 34 may give it an opportunity down towards its west one, S1 or further. I don't know. I don't want to look at that. US dollar Swissy. Swissy's gaining a little here. Again, it's sort of it gapped and closed down a little bit on the gap, but it's not flying, but it's maybe a move to safety a little, but the yen's not going with it. It's doing it all on its own at the moment, the Swissy, which makes me distrust it a little bit more. Right, well, I don't have much else. I was looking at the Euro pound. I did look at the Euro pound yesterday. It's gone the other way. And I looked at the Euro CAD yesterday. There's two things I was looking at yesterday, and I'm just looking at Euro CAD. Could continue its southbound journey. It was chopping around there yesterday. It did actually trigger the, I say trigger, but break the lows there at 11 o'clock. It's really quite ugly as it's sitting. Certainly now. So I'm sitting flat on currencies, and I will be for a while yet. There's absolutely nothing there that is of interest to me at the moment. I'll look through the rest of the crosses, but even the normal crosses, yeah, just not appealing at this stage. Aside of that, let's go and have a look at the usual suspects of gold, oil, and the equity market. So gold first. So yesterday it did continue pushing through a bit more gold. It's into its weekly R3 at this point here. It's had quite a shove, but last week was so lacking in any volatility. This shove we've had here is, well, the pivots are rather pinched on the basis of last week's data there. As I say, it did carry on pushing through there. Could see a continuation of this, particularly if things start kicking off between China and the US again. It would be a potentially positive move. Oil. So oil just not really going anywhere too much. Again, I'm not trading this still, and it's quite an ugly old scene. It is coming off at the 2 o'clock bars. It's sort of getting some move, but not enough. If I was trading that yesterday, I'd have been aiming towards that S2 area, but that didn't get caught. Really not liking it. The price action here it is in a bit of a range, to be fair, but not an interesting range for me. S&Ps. See, I can't. Here we go again. That's it. I can't sort of remember so many times that you just there's no real options that are clearly open to me. Now the S&Ps did get a surge later there, 5 o'clock. It got a bit more of a surge. It wasn't really doing too much as it happened in the morning. It started its route. At the moment, it looks like it could roll back over. The continuation chatter about the rare earth supplies to the US could create something more of a problem. even though it was looking with the shutdown resolution. I don't know what's happening there. Haven't seen anything obvious there at the moment, so I assume nothing is agreed yet. We'll see what happens here, but for now I'll be looking to see if it pulled back towards its pivot and reacted to the pivot later on this afternoon. Closer to home, the FTSE, well, surged on the potential, on the rubbish jobs numbers, but the potential cut in interest rates that brought rising. So equity markets flying, look, for now, but that's got a divergence on it for sure, he says. Double clicking, looking for it. So we had the bearish divergence back here, but there's a divergence where it's sitting at the moment. This signal thing is not that brilliant, but you can see the divergence with the RSI there. So there's a divergence, believe me. It's not quite closed, but either way. Right, it's FTSE DAX. I say it's divergent. It's diverging at the moment, the FTSE, but that doesn't mean to say it's a sell as it stands. Right, the DAX. Well, if the other equity markets start rolling over, this is always my favourite, or has been for a while. Well, I'd rather see it below its quarterly pivot if I was jumping on board this. Okay, so really, this is some potential. Maybe later, we'll see what happens. Yeah, could be one of those very iffy days, but there's nothing I currently want to be trading there. So on that note, I wish you all the best on that, and I will catch you tomorrow morning, same time. Take care. Bye for now.